I am legally insane. And hidden behind these adult-sized diapers, extra absorbent, extra large, I have some brand new Super Nintendo game pickups. We're talking heavy hitters in here and some garbage. We got a mixture of some absolute hidden gem bangers that I didn't know about, which means you might not have known about it either. And I'm the Super Nintendo king. I got a lot of Super Nintendo games back here. All the best games. I've been collecting Super Nintendo since I was in diapers. And I'm still in diapers. I'm still wearing diapers. And you can thank the Super Nintendo for that. I'm going to be collecting Super Nintendo games right up until I'm 69 years old. And I'm still going to be wearing these same diapers. So as you can see, the whole life cycle of Super Nintendo starts off, when you first start collecting, you're wearing diapers, and by the time you pass on and die, you're still wearing the diapers. A lot of diapers involved. I spent a lot of money on diapers. Diapers have dang near bankrupt me. The same way the Super Nintendo has dang near bankrupt me, and my video game addiction, collection addiction has dang near bankrupt me. But I survive. I keep going. I struggle on. I don't stop. I don't quit.
Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it!
Let that be motivation for you. If your wife's trying to tell you, oh, you're spending all of our money on retro video games and Nintendo Switch games. We can't afford to even put our kid through college because you spent all our money. We're struggling to pay the rent. We got the repo man coming to get the car tomorrow morning. That one happened to me once. So a wife complains, "Oh, the repo man, coming to get the car tomorrow morning. Maybe if you stop buying video games." Well, how about this one? Get a second job. How about that? Tell the wife, get a second job. You complain about not having enough money for all the retro video games because we got car payments to be made, and repo man's coming to collect the freaking car tomorrow morning.
You see this guy right here? He's late on his payments. Hey, you! Get out of here! That's my car!
Well, maybe if you worked 16 hours a day, we wouldn't have this problem. I got Super Nintendo games to start playing. I don't have time to work 16 hours a day. 8 hours is good enough for me. I got Super Nintendo games to be buying too. You know how much time I spend buying the games? You got to look for the deals. So I'm going to tell you what games I got, why I got each one of these games, and why you might also be interested in picking up some of these Super Nintendo games. 2024. Oh yeah, and by the way, I got like 40 Super Nintendo games that are all recent pickups that I got to get into these videos. So I never stopped collecting. You haven't seen a Super Nintendo video for a while, but that doesn't mean I stopped buying Super Nintendo games. So I got 5 Super Nintendo game pickups here for you. 5 games. And I'm going to start off with the most unique game that you probably didn't know existed. You probably didn't know about it. And you might wish you hadn't known about it. After I tell you about it, you're going to wish that you didn't know about it. Or you're going to go and buy it. You're either going to do one or the other. There's really no in between here. Or actually, and if you do go out and buy it, first thing you're going to do is you're going to take a gun out. Where's my gun? Now, I know at least one of you guys out there is legally insane. I know that for a fact. There's some guy that writes in the comments all the time, actually, that he's legally insane. So I know that guy's insane. And I know what he's going to do when he sees this game. He's going to pick up his gun. He's going to point the gun at his balls. And he's going to blow him off. He's going to blow him off. And he's going to hope and pray that he can get a surgeon to find a donor, a 69-year-old dead old guy donor from the morgue, and hope that he can reattach his balls with some 69-year-old man balls. Now, those balls don't produce very much sperm. You got to keep that in mind. Right? That's the downside of blowing your own balls off. But that's the price that you got to pay. Street Hockey 95. Has anyone heard of this game? Has anyone played this game? Street Sports from Street Sports. Oh, I think they were going to make a whole series of sports games. Dang, that would have been awesome, if the game actually sold good. So they called it Street Hockey 95 because they obviously thought that it would sell good and that there would be a 96, a 97, a 98. Hell, you might be looking at a 2024 version today, Street Hockey 24 today, if this thing wasn't such a dang failure. And it's a dang shame. Basically what they attempted to do and significantly failed at was they attempted to make NBA Jam in the form of street hockey. That's what they attempted to do, and they used like real life motion characters, like Mortal Kombat characters, where they did live action. So they had real people, live actors. It's not that they had intended for this to be garbage shovelware. They actually tried to create something unique and cool, really original, I should say. And they successfully did make something original, but here's the problem. The game play is terrible, but more importantly, unless you had the manual, a lot of people rented games back in the day, right? So let's say you might rent NHL 95 before you buy it. You might rent NBA Jam before you buy it. It was very common to at least rent a game to try it, and if you like it, you would buy it. Right? This was around the time when the rental stores were the go-to place. There's no YouTube, no internet. You would rent a game, then if you like it, you buy it. Yeah, there was still a lot of blind buying too, based on the cover and all that stuff. But let's start with the cover. The Angry Video Game Nerd made fun of this cover too. The cover basically has got they hired Lil Wayne. They hired Lil Wayne to go on the cover and do a flying jump kick and rollerblades, which you can't actually do in the game, because that would actually made it a good game. If you could do flying jump kicks and start doing Mortal Kombat moves, which I guess they attempted to add in a little bit, like you can roughhouse the other players, but that's hockey. You can do that in regular hockey too. So that don't really count. I mean, that's what they should have done right there. I just sold 10 million copies right there. Mortal Kombat on hockey, on rollerblades, done. I could have fixed that game right there. I would have been the best game developer in the world right now today. So here's what's funny about it. I'm gonna pull this up. This is why you needed the manual back then. And when you rented games back then, you never got the dang manual. You never did. And if you did get it, it would be gone the next week because the next kid wouldn't return it. At one point in time, they would let you give you the manual with the rentals. But for whatever reason, the kids would always lose the dang manuals. So let me read you the description. And it does sound good. Street Hockey 95 takes inline sports to a totally new level with 24 megs of digitized graphics and sounds to pull you in the action. By the way, it is a 4-player compatible game, and that's another reason why I love this game. It's so bad, it's good. And that's exactly what's in my collection. And it's rare as hell too. Good, especially CIB. Good luck getting your hands on the manual or the box. Good luck. One shows up on eBay every blue moon. If you're lucky. And I haven't checked. Maybe there's one on eBay right now. But if there is, I bet you it costs an arm and a leg to get it. Because when I was looking, you couldn't even get one. And I was looking for months and months and months. And if one did show up, it was gone. Nobody has this game. So here's what they advertise. 24 megs of action-packed graphics, yes. 22,000 or 2,200 frames of digitized animation. 3 different intensity levels. Enough digitized trash talk to psych out the entire hood. You gotta remember, this is street hockey. Street hockey, buddy. This is straight from the streets of the 90s. Of the 90s, buddy. 9 streetwise players to choose from, each with their own style and strengths, yes. And here's the hardest part. This is why you need the manual. 5 different street hockey games. Fat Point, Rush, Whack, Cram It, Hot Puck. There is no regular hockey. So unless you literally grew up on the streets of Chicago, the streets of New York, downtown, hardcore, you basically got to grow up in Harlem. If you didn't grow up in Harlem or the Bronx, and not only that, but you would have had to grow up in the Bronx while also being hardcore into hockey. And all your friends would have to be hardcore into hockey. That they've invented these 1990s versions of hockey that unless you had the manual, you wouldn't even know how to play. Because it's not hockey. You don't just score a point and that's how you win. That's not how it works. You got to know the rules of every game. So who here is grew up on the downtown streets of Chicago and New York, New Jersey, knows how to play Fat Point? I'll wait. How about Rush? How about Whack? Cram It? Hot Puck? Anybody? And you know what? I asked a whole bunch of hockey people about this. I even asked all my coworkers at work. I said, who here grew up on the streets? I'm looking for a hardcore hood rat. And if you get one or two guys say, oh, I grew up on the streets of, my little neighborhood. I say, okay, are you big into hockey? Usually they say no, but every now and then I got a yes. And then I'd ask, okay, how do you play Fat Point? And of course, they have no friggin' idea. In other words, they didn't grow up on the hardcore, the hard enough streets of downtown LA. They didn't grow up on the streets of LA. Downtown, 1995. Completely worthless. No one was able to help me. To this day, I don't know how to play this game. And yes, I have played it on 2-player, and it was fun as hell. Now imagine playing that on 4-player. So let's move on to the next game. I'm going to fly through these next games a little bit faster. Now this was the rare game that I didn't know about. Shockingly, this is Cybernator. And this was the prequel to Target Earth for the Sega Genesis. And this is actually 100 times better than the Sega Genesis game. 100 times better. And the Sega Saturn sequel to this is coming out for the Nintendo Switch by Limited Run Games in the near future. So you might want to check this game out. And also, if you didn't already know, they have a upgraded, declassified version of this exact same game, uncensored. I do believe it's the uncensored Japanese version, adapted to English, digital on the Nintendo Switch. You can download it and it's got save states. So that's actually the best way to play this game, but alternatively, just get the Super Nintendo version. Oh yeah, I got a steal of a deal on this one too. I paid $25. Last I checked, it was worth like 50 or 60 Canadian dollars. So I got an absolute freaking steal. I felt like I was robbing the guy, but no one else bid on it, so I got lucky. I'm going to play this. Oh, yeah, look at that. This is how you already know it's good. What's that say? Right there. It says Konami. They don't publish bad games. I don't think they developed this game, but they did publish it. And once again, they would never put, old school Konami would not put their name on anything that was not a 10 out of 10 game. Okay, what I love about this game, so basically you're a mech warrior. You're flying this mech, and you're blowing stuff up. Side scroller. There's also like side scrolling shoot 'em up stages, shoot 'em up style as well. They mix up the gameplay. Every button does something. Tons of weapons. You really feel like you're actually flying this mech, so it does take a little bit of getting used to. But that's what the first level is designed for. The first 2 levels are really just to get you to understand how to maneuver your mech. And, I guess they teach you how to use the weapons as well, because you can also strafe, so you can hold down there's no twin stick shooting, so you have the option of running and gunning, and you also have the option of locking your weapon in place and then moving your character around. And you will use that for the bosses. That's most used on the bosses. It's not too difficult. It's a beatable game with practice, But more importantly, I'm going to use the Game Genie. And again, even more importantly, there's some secrets that you're going to want to look up. There's a napalm gun. What you have to do to get the napalm gun is beat the first level without attacking a single enemy except for the boss. So just run through the level. Don't attack anyone. Don't get any upgrades. Nothing. Do not fire a single shot. Go right to the boss. Beat the boss. Very simple boss. And then you get the napalm gun, but it's only temporary. There's another secret. And the napalm gun is the gun that you want because that's what makes the game makes you OP. and that's what makes it fun. You got to get the napalm gun. But to keep the napalm gun is the hard part because the second level is very hard. You have to do the exact same thing on the second level, but you also can't get hit by the asteroids. The second level is a shoot 'em up, like flying stage. And there's 2 areas that are very difficult to fly past without hitting an asteroid, but you'll get it with practice. So 10 out of 10 game. This is what I'm most excited for. This has quickly become one of my favorite Super Nintendo games ever made. And I ignored this in the past. I knew it existed, but for some reason I thought it was a Super Scope game. So I never paid any attention to it. I saw it at the rental store. I always ignored it. I've seen it show up in auctions. I just always ignored it. And this one particular time I decided to just, let me YouTube that. Like, what is this game that I've seen my entire life? I used to see at Roger's video all the time. What is this game? So I picked that one up. Very excited for that. And speaking of Konami, holy hell, guys, one of the best Konami games ever made yet again. That you would have not thought was as good as it is. This is Tiny Toons Buster Bus Loose. It's only single player. As far as I can remember, I think it's only single player. There is a Sega Genesis game, Buster Bunny game as well, but that's a different game. Completely different game. It's called like Buster Treasure Hunt, I think. Buster's Treasure Hunt, something like that. This is Buster Bus Loose Konami. I've been wanting to play this my entire life. I've never gotten to play it. It's my first time owning it. It's fairly cheap. I probably paid $10 for it. Konami game. You gotta remember, you gotta understand that. Konami don't release anything that wasn't a 10 out of 10 back in the day. This is a 10 out of 10 game. And I also had a friend of mine tell me a long time ago that this is one of the best games on the Super Nintendo. Now, I didn't believe him at the time. But when I YouTubed it and I saw some gameplay, I said, dang, man, that does look pretty good. Like, imagine having that back in the day. Better than the NES Tiny Toons games, and that's one of my favorite games. Oh, frig, yeah, look at this game here. Donkey Kong Country 3. I never had this game. Never had this before in my entire life. I have Donkey Kong Country 1. I have Donkey Kong Country 2. Everybody says number 2 is better. I say screw you. Number 1 is obviously better than number 2. Because of the music. It's probably and honestly, it's probably the nostalgia talking. But listen to that music, the soundtrack on Donkey Kong Country number 1. The thing was written by Mozart himself back from the dead. Mozart himself came back from the dead and wrote that soundtrack. And some other guy claimed that he did it himself, when in reality he damn well knows that Mozart did it because he watched Mozart's ghost write out the notes to the music. So Donkey Kong Country 3, I've heard is the worst. And that's why you never hear anybody talk about Donkey Kong Country 3. In fact, you'll hear everybody talk about every single other Donkey Kong Country game. Nintendo Wii Donkey Kong Country Returns, they keep remaking that one. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. When that one first came out, everybody and their mother's talking about that one on the Wii U as like super crazy, like the next best Donkey Kong Country game. So damn good that they ported it over to Nintendo Switch. Nobody ever talks about this one though. So, but I have Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2 for Super Nintendo. I finally got to complete my collection. Even though I have like 500 Super Nintendo games or more, I don't even know how many I got. I'm missing games too. I'm missing games. That was one of them. I'm still collecting, buddy. It's 2024. I'm still collecting for the Super Nintendo. And I won't stop till I have every game that I need. So that's 4 games. Last game. To be honest, I regret getting this one. It's very unique, but it makes me dizzy. This is Super Strike Eagle. It clearly has a low budget. I think they relied too heavily on Mode 7. So they use a lot of Mode 7 and scaling effects. Good graphics. Very good graphics. They mix up the gameplay. You got dogfighting sections, which looks like Top Gun from NES. That first-person view, driving around, doing some dogfights. But then they've got these Mode 7 bombing missions. So you can see your plane and you're kind of doing these dive bombs. So you're just dive bombing people, dive bombing enemies, and I don't like that section. You're constantly diving down, driving up, and you're just spinning in circles, a little bit like Desert Eagle, but done in a way that makes you dizzy. Or Desert Strike, sorry, Jungle Strike and Desert Strike, and the graphics are just like too zoomed in. It's using that Mode 7 scaling. I think they thought that would sell the game in itself, and that's just not good enough to make a good game. I think they relied heavily on that. They thought, oh look, our whole game is going to be Mode 7, everything. The whole freaking game is nothing but Mode 7. We're going to make $1 million, $10 million. Well, I mean, you'll get a couple of sales, but your game sucks. See, that's why they need to hire me. I know how to make good games, but no one's hiring me. And I don't know how to program anything, but I can yell at all your programmers and tell them what to do, and then I'll make the best damn game ever made. So if some rich guy out there, if the president of Konami sees this video, you should consider hiring me. Because also, I'm looking for you, buddy. I mentioned that in a different video, Xbox 360 video. I'm looking for you at the same time. Because I got some beef with you, buddy. You messed up on one of your Konami classics for the Xbox 360. You didn't make Russian Attack 2-player local co-op. One of the best games ever made, arcade game. Yeah, you better hope I don't find you. I got 2 friends. They've been looking for you a long time. 2 of my best friends. They want to meet you, buddy. They're going to meet you out in the parking lot when they find you. Keep an eye out for Mr. Jack Johnson and Brian O'Neill. Some of these options, I don't even know what the hell's going on here. If there is no option, you can jumpstart or new game. I guess you can save your game? New tournament? Resume tournament, so you can save your tournament. Let's go practice for now. Just want to show you the characters. Slack off. Ooh. What? Hype around or blowout. Does anybody know what any of this means? Oh my, slack off. I'm hoping that's difficulty. Solo shred, one-on-one. I don't have the option to change. Okay, let's just look at the dang characters, alright? We got Styly. We got Buzz. Styly Sticky D. What does any of this even mean? Hex, he's wearing a frickin' like a skier's mask? Astronaut and Rocket Shot. Maybe that's their special move. They get two special moves. Because this girl yells out Power Child all the time, so that's definitely a special move. That's her special move, and maybe her specialty is nasty slaps. Rocket Shot, Sticky D, Commissar. Solid steel? I guess she's specializes in stealing the puck. Lenya, Baruch, Sweathead, Whack-Robat, what the hell? Victor, Nowhere Man, Ozoner. Here's the guy from the cover, I think. No, this is a chick. Okay, Grace, the Woo, and the Turbo Glide. Oh, that sounds awesome. That's probably like a slide shot, maybe. Lars, Shred Dog, Puck Stuffer. What? Abe, this is the guy from the cover. This is Lil Wayne before he became famous. What? Let's do Club Shred. Oops. Oh, I dropped my controller. Yeah, I don't know the buttons. There's definitely got to be a steel button of some sort. Oh, you can jump. That's pretty cool. So this guy switched to being goalie because it's one-on-one. No. What's going on here? I do have a goalie. Okay, so it's not empty net. Oh, it's just practice. I don't have an opponent. Yeah, see, you can go up the sides. It's like a half pipe. I remember that. That was a little slide. Stop. That's a move that you can do. You can jump. That's probably pass. That's A. And B appears to be a slap shot. Sticky D is in net. Oops, that was the jump button again. Okay, I think I lobbed the puck in the air with the R button. I'm not sure what that does, but it serves a purpose for sure. And the L button appears to be like a... I don't know what the L button's doing. Oh, slap shot in the face, bitch! Top corner, like I said. Called it in my head. First shot, first real shot, I get a goal. Let's go to the next game. This is quite possibly the best hockey game ever made. I take back everything I said. This is the best hockey game ever made. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. Let me know if you are collecting Super Nintendo games and if you played Street Hockey 95. I want to know all about it. Write a whole friggin' essay. If you played that back in the day, or if you've played it recently and you know what Fat Point is, write me an essay.